Number 7.
From Carolla One Studios in Glendale, California, this is the Adam Carolla Show. Today, Adam's taking your sex, drug, and relationship calls with special guest, Dr. Drew. And now, Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get it on. No choice but to get it on mandate. Get it on, Dr. Drew. And everyone loves Dr. Drew.
Oh, that mandate.
Yes.
I got to get it on.
You must. TV shows, Dr. Drew on HLN, 9 p.m. on weeknights. Great show. And Life Changers weekdays, 3 p.m. on the CW. And, of course, Love Line on syndicated radio Sunday through Thursday all around the country. This show is a bonus show. This is for you, and it's for free, but it does come with this little caveat. You must tell a friend. That's right. You must go to our homepage at adamcroll.com and hit the tell a friend page, and pow, hit that little marker there, and it tells you how to tell a friend about the podcast.
That's how they get this show?
That's how, no, the show they get.
You're just asking them to do that.
Yeah.
I just want to know.
It's a request. It's a request.
retarded.
They're not going to do it. Fuck you guys. Tell a friend bullshit. Oh, we give you the show. We do it commercial free, and that's our solid to you. And you do us a solid back by telling a friend. And also, back to school time, baby. Amazon. Click through the banner and show us some love. Again, you all love Drew. You clamor for Drew. We give you Drew, and that's all we ask in return. So thank you, and remember, it's horrible juju if you don't, and you'll be crushed by a safe that falls from a 6-story building. All right. Drew, I opened the refrigerator moments ago, and I noticed your keys, your car keys in there.
You see what's on top of?
I saw it was on top of flu vaccination.
Right.
And my very first thought was, why? And I looked at it, and I saw the make of car it was, and
car out there.
Everyone here drives 87 Yaris, so I knew it wasn't their car. And I said, Drew mistakenly left his keys in the refrigerator. And then I thought, how bizarre is that? Drew's a very wise man. He wouldn't leave his keys in the refrigerator.
That's right.
And then I thought, well, he was just pouring himself a coffee. So he was, I like when I have to go through all these machinations in my mind every second. So I'm like,
wait, stop, slow it down. Because what people don't understand is this is what you're doing all day.
That's all I do.
This is just one little second that went through your mind. What the F is Drew's keys doing in my refrigerator?
Right. So first was he left them there. Then secondly was, oh no, he's a bright man. He wouldn't leave them there.
Yeah.
You actually want to know what my first impulse was?
Yeah.
This key has a battery in it that locks and unlocks your expensive car's door.
Yes.
And maybe there was an issue, and somebody said, all the hot weather, blah, 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 throw it in the fridge. That'll work. So my first thought was some sort of mechanical thing.
But then you knew me.
Then I knew you would listen to somebody, but you wouldn't figure that out.
That's right.
And then I thought, well, he set it on there, and he wouldn't do that. But then I thought he was pouring himself some coffee.
Yeah.
Maybe the coffee pot's right next to the fridge. Maybe he was going for the creamer when he had his hand
still
and set it down. Set it down.
Okay.
And then I thought, no, he put the keys on top of the flu vaccination because he didn't want to forget the flu vaccination.
Right.
And it was not his house keys, it was his car key because he cannot leave. You can leave without your house keys. You cannot leave without your car key.
Right.
And that's the way you think, and that's what I do, and that's what I preach. And then everyone says, shut up,
Wait,
asshole.
it's not what you preach, it's what you're cursed with. When you preach, the next minute a gnat farts, and you have to figure that out.
I'm just saying, I say all the time, if you don't want to forget something, go set it by the front door, lean it by the front door, put it in the car, figure it out. Whatever it is, get a rhythm. Life is too confusing. Your mind is going too many directions at once. And the great Dr. Drew has a lot on his mind, so he puts the keys. Now, are you going to vaccinate people here?
No. No, there are my family. My kids are going away to college, and I got to get the vaccines came early. I got to get them vaccinated. So I'm thinking, oh hell, I got to get something. But it's hot outside.
Right. So you put them in the fridge, but you don't want to forget them in the fridge. And there's no way you can forget them in the fridge if you put your car keys on top.
There you go.
See, look, I try to tell people all the time. Great minds and great people, they're humble. See, the first thing you need to do is humble yourself. I swear to God,
Yeah,
because I've gotten this with people all the time where I go, you need to write that down, and they go, hey, don't worry, I got it. And I'm like, no, you don't have it. And a great mind is not someone that has a mind like a steel trap where they don't need to write stuff down, but where they're aware of their own weaknesses and foibles, and they then trick themselves into never forgetting things. And adjust.
Double check, yes.
Or maybe you're one of the people that never needs to write anything down, except for I know you well, and I'm now bringing this up to you multiple times, so I am not going to add you onto that list, ironically, of people who don't need to write things down.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure why you're arguing with me, because we're only arguing because, once again, you've forgotten something.
It's strange. It's kind of a discipline thing, isn't it? Because I do all kinds of funky
Yes.
stuff with my phone, with myself. I
It's
write
a
stuff down. I
discipline.
trick myself.
Yes.
Because I know if I don't take this moment, it's effortful focus. It's effortful control in that moment.
It's a discipline.
Yeah, it is kind of weird discipline, but it's automatic if you do it a few times.
Yes.
It's not that hard, guys.
I don't mind, again, the part where you didn't think of this, or one didn't think of this, and I don't mind the part where I'm going to introduce it to you. I do mind the part where you're asking me if I took my asshole pills today. Because all I would like is for you not to leave your sunglasses on the patio for the fourth day in a row while you drive home at night. That's all. I don't know why people meet, and it's an obsession of mine. And the reason I'm a good carpenter is because I always just listen to other carpenters, and if they had a good idea, I would adopt it immediately. And I would say, "Oh, that's a good way of doing that." I'll do it that way.
It diminishes me because I didn't know that already. See,
Why is everyone so diminished?
No, because you and I can't be diminished any further.
Ooh.
We have such low self-esteem already.
Interesting.
That we're looking for things to lift us up.
My parents flattened me out like a crepe when I was 6, so there's nothing you can really tell me that I don't even know when people are being sarcastic with me.
But you would think though that we would be defensive because of that, because we wouldn't want to
Yes.
feel that,
Yes.
and yet we seem pretty okay with our low self-esteem. And maybe that's the thing. Maybe that's the trick.
Well, I look at it as anything that benefits me, I will take and not look at that as a swipe or being diminished in any way, shape, or form. If you have a way of telling me how to do something better than I'm doing it now, I am all ears because I get to benefit from it. So you want to talk about ego, this is about me. This is about my ego. This is about me stealing something from you.
But I bet you would do it even if it was not a benefit to you, but a benefit of others. I think you would.
I just don't know why, and maybe this is a newer thing, or maybe it goes back 200 years. Why are we so wound into our... why are we so attached to us? Like when I say to you, here's a better way to do this so you won't forget this next time.
Yeah.
Why is that such a personal thing?
Yeah.
It's merely a tip.
Disrespect.
Why? Yes. Where did the disrespect come in when it's merely a tip? The tip is universal. It would be told to anybody. It has nothing to do with you personally. It's just you happen to be the person that's forgetting the keys.
I wonder if it has something to do with we don't help people develop enough competency that they feel confident in some areas, so they can begin to sponge up stuff in others. You know what I mean? If you feel confident everywhere, you feel a little like anxious all the time.
Yeah.
You know, and I blame education for that.
Well, there's a lot of folks walking around sort of half-cocked and feeling not good about themselves, and then, unfortunately, regurgitating that on every piece of information that comes their direction.
I wonder if people in the military have a better time sucking stuff out. You know what I mean? Because I feel like if people had their ass kicked in education, they would be fine with this.
Well, an ass kicking is an ass kicking is an ass kicking. And
That's
there's a military ass kicking, there's an educational ass kicking, there's a organized team sports ass kicking, but either way, there's an ass kicking. There's a breaking down of the individual and a building up of the team, so to speak. And whenever that happens, then it makes you much more able and open, and your posture is much different towards somebody, because you have to realize if you play sports or you are ROTC or you are in some very high academic whatever culture environment, your entire youth was spent with somebody telling you here's how you do it.
But I got to tell you something. I watched this exact issue with my sons when they were 9. This is
Mhm.
Sonny's how old? 7, 8?
Between like 5 and 7.
Okay. Ish. 5 and
Ish.
7 ish.
Yeah.
They played soccer,
Mhm.
and the soccer dads were all frustrated athletes, were angry, and took personal digs at the kids.
Mhm.
You're a bad forward. You're a horrible. They would use these words and talk to these kids that were highly personal. I pulled my kids out of soccer
Mhm.
and I put them in tackle football.
Yes.
And at which point, a 300-pound African American man would pick them up by the face mask, bring the face mask up to his nose, and go, "Son, I am trying to help you."
Mhm.
And they go, "Okay, yes,
Right.
sir, yes, sir."
Right.
As opposed to being broken down in a way that I wonder if that's some of what's going on here. We don't know how to break people down and build people up and give people good advice.
It's not that we don't know how. We won't tolerate it. It's part of
Yeah.
it, which is, I grew up playing tackle football from 7 to 18 or 19, and there was no such thing as an excuse. The coach would say, you pulled the wrong direction, or you didn't get your head on the outside shoulder and you didn't break down, or whatever.
Always in the context, no matter how much he was yelling, "I'm trying to help you be a better player," as opposed to, "You're just awful, you're bad, you're this."
Every once in a while, you jump up offside and they'd yell, "Carolla, get your head out of your ass," But that
So
was
you're a
still,
better player.
they'd still wake up.
As
it was
opposed
wake
to,
up.
"You're an awful person, that's why you keep your head up your ass." You understand the difference?
It was everything. Yes, we understood. It was abundantly clear that everything the coach did was so that he could win. And we could win.
So maybe it's that our families are so screwed up, our parenting is so messed up because we make it all about us rather than the kids. The kids expect that kind of intrusion rather than something supportive. Maybe?
That's part of it, I think. I think there's a pure and simple breaks down to this. I spent the entire beginning part of my life with people telling me what to do and how to do it better and what I was doing wrong, and you never said anything back.
No.
You never said, "Coach, you're wrong," or "You got the wrong guy," or "You insane." He'd send you all on laps. There was none of that. It was just go do it again.
Yeah.
And that was it. And that was the culture I grew up in. And now I realize people that don't have that in their background, when you say to them, "Here's what I need you to do," they come back with something. And then you go, "You're not hearing me. I'm doing it." And then they come back again. And before you know it, they've come back 10 times. And you thought, why are you coming back from this fundamental truth that, by the way, will benefit you? Well, they were not involved in that culture where you're just told something.
And by the way, the boys in their
Military's the same way. By the way, football is loosely based on the military.
Oh, loosely, very much. Yeah.
When I grew up, it was just, you called, first off, I knew none of the first names of any of the players on my team.
Right.
As a matter of fact, it was just a joke, but somebody came up to my sister once when she was, 10 and said, "Hey, you're Carolla's sister." Obviously, she was Carolla too, but you're Carolla's sister. I never knew. I kind of knew their first names, but everyone used everyone's last name.
Yeah.
There was yes, sir, and no, sir, and Coach so-and-so. You didn't even call the guy Gallagher. He was Coach Gallagher or Mr. Napier or Mr. Coach, whatever it was. No talking back, no first names, nothing.
And I saw the boys, 9 years and 10 years of age, carrying themselves differently, laying out their uniform the day before, getting ready.
Right.
It affects them in a positive way.
Right. I must say, I heard somebody call in a talk radio show the other day and say the exact same thing I've been saying for 25 years, which is, the guy said, "I played all sports. I played football, I played basketball, I played baseball and soccer and everything else all growing up," and he said football was the only thing I ever got anything out of. Baseball was fun.
Yeah.
Baseball, you go out and you fuck around. Yeah. And we just learned how to all whistle the Old Spice theme. That was our big deal.
Football, among other things, in addition to listening to authority, you learn to put yourself in harm's way on behalf of your peers. That's a big deal for you.
That's right. All right. You see any Coles you like up there? These brothers bipolar. Is it dangerous to mix? Just took the bar exam. Anxiety attacks. Waiting for results. Wow. My assistant Jay is in the exact same spot.
Wow.
Yeah, he took the bar exam, just took it, and they don't come in till like November or something. Frank
Yeah, Adam, how you doing?
Good. Is this your first attempt at the bar?
Yes, it is.
Well, I got great news for you, and this should assuage your anxiety just a little bit. You can fail this attempt,
As many times as you want. Right?
and then you can fail the next one, and then the one after that, and then a fourth, and you can still be the mayor of the city of Los Angeles one day.
You tried 4
I
times.
got something to aim for.
Well, yes, you failed 4 times. You didn't. Now, by the way, you cannot try 5th time and pass.
Oh,
You just
really?
have to realize that you have a disability. Quit and take that great mind and steer it toward politics. You take that fantastic machine of a brain of yours that cannot pass the bar after 4 attempts and go, you know what? I'm going to run the second biggest city in the world. How about that?
That sounds perfect.
And that's why we're #1, baby.
Now, Frank, you're talking about the bar in Michigan?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, see, yes, sir. Get that?
Mhm.
Frank played football.
I like that. He's a
I
military.
played it for 10 years. Yeah.
There you go. And you learn discipline and hard work, right?
Yes, I did.
It says you're having anxiety attacks while waiting. I just heard a lecture the other day where it was talking about well-being and psychiatric symptoms in attorneys, and it's the negative symptoms of depression, anxiety, twice the national average
Of attorneys. Yeah, it's tough.
Look forward to a life of further unhappiness, Frank, once you pass the bar. But yeah, of course you're anxious. And now, are you having attacks of panic or just waves of anxiety?
It's a little bit of both. In the very beginning, right after the exam, I couldn't sleep or eat for those first few days.
Now, is that because you were taking Adderall or caffeine or anything else to try to get through all that?
No, well, I did take like a 5-hour energy when I took the exam because it was 2 days with a 6-hour exam and I wanted to be awake. But I usually took those for all my exams, and that's not usually an issue.
Juicing. Yeah. You and Armstrong. Hey.
By the way, we got to talk about that.
Oh, yeah, let's talk about Lance Armstrong in a second. Hey, so Frank,
Yeah.
you know, I said this to my assistant Jay, who I secretly don't want to pass, so we'll come back to work over here. I said, look, did you study as hard as you could study? He said, I prepared as hard as I could prepare. I said, well, you're a smart guy. He said, yeah. Most people don't argue with you when you announce that they're smart. I said, you're a smart guy, and you prepared as hard as you could prepare. So with that in mind, there's a very good chance that you're going to pass this thing. There's no guarantees, but you have taken care of the part that you can take care of. And that's, to me, that's the part that should or shouldn't cause anxiety. When I feel like I didn't prepare, when I feel like I didn't do what I had to do, then there's anxiety. When I feel like I did everything I could do, I'll listen. I don't like to turn the conversation toward myself, but here goes for just 1 second. I did a pilot for Fox. It's 9 minutes long, and you guys can find it on YouTube, and it's animated, and I'm proud of it. I think it's very good, and it's not going on the fall schedule. I don't beat myself up about it. I don't hang my head about it, and I don't have anxiety about it, and I don't even have a what if about it.
Do you have anxiety about anything?
No.
Yeah.
Okay. But the point is this. I don't have any issues with it because I did the best I could do, and it's good. And I don't want to sound like a fucking, bumper sticker here. But if you've prepared and if you did what you had to do, because you cannot control what the executives at Fox do. You can only control the 9-minute presentation you give them, and you cannot control the guys who examine your bar exam. You can only control the part where you're beaked up on 5-hour energy drink and busting number 2 pencils left and right.
This is the serenity prayer, right?
Right.
Help me.
This is it. So you cannot change this and thus leave it alone.
However, once you induce genuine panic, and you got to be sure you're having panic and not just lots of anxiety. Panic is sort of a biological event. And if you've now opened those circuits and having waves of panic, sometimes it's important to get those circuits shut off with medication. Sometimes, or with talk or cognitive therapy or something. Okay. So just something to keep in mind. If you keep having panic, you may need to have that treated. Just like if you precipitated some other biological event and it needs to be managed.
Frank, if you fail, you can come be my assistant. That's if Jay passes.
I would love to do that.
But if if Jay doesn't pass and you do, then it's sayonara. If you both don't pass, then I get to give the nod to Jay. You understand?
Yeah, I understand. I get it.
Okay, buddy. You're way
Okay.
ahead of the game. You're 26.
Yeah.
You're already taking the bar. You're
Yeah.
doing great.
Good times.
All right. What do you want to talk about? Lance Armstrong?
Yeah, what do you think about that?
I mean, look.
he has taken 500 tests. He's
Yes.
been shown an absolute willingness to open himself to any and all biological testing.
Well, I have two feelings about
At
it.
what point, I don't
Three
blame him,
feelings.
just going, F it.
Three.
Screw it,
I
I'm
have
done.
three feelings. There are certain things that involve the France, especially France cases, but there's certain things historically that they're not nuts about. Like, for instance, I know from motor racing, Le Mans is Le Mans. They don't like Americans winning Le Mans. That's
Right.
their
Right,
race.
right, yeah.
So they will make rules and do things and, have governing bodies and do this
Right.
and that. And F1 used to be kind of this way. There's a French guy, if you ever watch a movie, Senna, that kind of stuff. So they have a thing about outsiders and their thing. And they're not fans of America. And the reason they're not fans of Americans is very, very simple. As a matter of fact, they don't like. It was actually funny, and then we'll get back to Lance in a second. But I was in Montreal, and I didn't know about it, but people were telling me, "Oh, Montreal folks, they're not nuts about Americans." And then I thought, well, I've been all over Canada, and they seem to be pretty cool with Americans. How about Montreal? Well, this is French Canada over here. And they're not nuts. And then I thought, what the fuck is their beef with, And they actually were running a commercial. I saw in my hotel room. It was the French-Canadian War, it was like
French Indian War?
yeah, and they were like, and the day we beat the Americans, and it was a whole thing, like a patriotic thing about beating Americans. And then I realized, oh yes, they have the same thing on a macro level that we always talk about on a micro level, which is, why does the person I bailed out of trouble and lent money to resent the shit out of me? Why do the French not like the English? Because while they turned over and let the Germans occupy them and let them use their landing strips to bomb England during the World War II, when they were firebombing England. Let's not forget, they were firebombing England, taking off from the French coast. They didn't take off from the German coast. They took over from the fucking French coast because the French folded when they showed up. And then the English, they shamed them because the English dug in and they said, we ain't fucking turning. We ain't quitting. We're going to show you. We got some fight in us. And then the Battle of Britain. And then the Americans came in and helped them win that. And then at a certain point, we beat back the Germans, who were using France as an airport to bomb England. So, of course, they got shamed. And whenever you get shamed by a country, now you would think France would be like, America, England, we're fucking in love with you guys. Because we were being occupied by Germans. And because you guys had backbone and tenacity and a little something we call grit, you were able to fight back these Nazis who we could not fight back. And you were able to beat them even though you were being firebombed on a nightly basis. We will never stop being in your gratitude. We will never stop thanking you for this heroic act. Oh no, it's quite the opposite. We don't much care for the people that saved our culture and our civilization. Why? Because you got fucking shamed. You got shamed.